In this lesson, we're going to look at stored procedures. To demonstrate this, I've created a simple database called product sales. Inside product sales, I've created a table called products. And if you look inside the columns, there's product code, which is the primary key, the product name, the cost price, and list price. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new query. This is how to create a new procedure. So I've got a new query, and then we're going to talk your way through this. The create procedure is the actual command to create the procedure, and the P perk increase as the P, again, naming convention. I can see instantly that can be a procedure for me. Perk increase is going to increase the cost price by a certain percentage. Now, another aspect we haven't talked about just yet is variables. A variable is something that can change throughout a particular program, and you'll notice we declare the variable in SQL here. So declare ampersand perk or percentage as float. Float meaning a number type field with decimal places. Then we set a variable value for perk. So set at perk equals 12. So in this particular case, the cost price will be increased by 12%. So let's look at the actual SQL code for that. So it's select prod name, cost price. So there are your two fields it's going to show you on that. Now, something we haven't seen before is a field that's going to be calculated. It's going to be called perk inc. You'll see more about that perk inc soon. So the way we do this is cost price plus cost price multiplied by the percentage, which is 12, divided by 100. That gives us the price, and then adds it to the cost price here. It's from DBO products, so you can see DBO products table there. Okay. If we run this, I'm going to just run the actual SQL file first. Now, the way to do that, I'm going to highlight the SQL code I want to run and then press execute. Now, what happens here, the product name, could you see product name, cost price, and this perk inc field here has been calculated with the 12% interest adding on to the cost price. So that's basically what it is. Now, at the moment, if we left that the way it was, we would need to put this SQL statement in again. However, we're going to create a procedure from this. So again, I'm going to highlight this, but this time I'm going to include creating the procedure. And then if we go to execute, now you'll see commands completed successfully. Now, to refresh this database so you can see, and what we're going to be looking at in the programmability folder here, when I refresh the database, you'll see in programmability and stored procedures, you'll see now this procedure already created for us. Okay. Now, if we want to run this procedure, all we simply do is right click, execute stored procedure, go to OK, and then that runs the information here. Okay. Now, don't worry too much about the return value for now. There's no return value on this option here, but we will be using these somewhat when we start creating Visual Studio Code and VB.NET code. So this is very, very important. Now, something to just bear in mind, if we try to create a view of this, we would get an error because we can't declare variables in views. So that's the reason why we're storing this in a stored procedure. Now, furthermore, When we start using variables like this, we can then replace these contents, the variables, by user input in Visual Studio. So we can, let's say we can ask the user to input a percentage of the percentage increase, and you can see soon this is 12, and then we can then ask the user to input it, and then they can put in a different value every single time, and it will run very nicely. As a recap, we discovered how to create stored procedures in this session, but we also learned how to declare variables, what variables are. We've also looked at how to store values to variables, and then to use a calculation to create a new calculated field on the actual SQL statement.